Red rum.
Tony, you're not invited.
It's me, Chucky.
Oh, God. Oh, why is he here, too? This is horrible.
It's like a horror movie,
And
but
it's
it's not. Sort of. We're talking about a scary movie this week. I thought I'd join you.
I can't tell which Chucky
I'm a
this is.
fusion of the two. I did the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z.
So you're both the Deadwood guy and Mark Hamill
yes,
fused together? Okay.
yes, that.
All right, well,
Both of those things.
that's better than the pure Mark Hamill version, I would say. But yeah, what are we talking about today, Chucky?
The Shining.
What voice am I even doing?
I don't know. It was terrible.
It's awful. I'm sorry.
There's
I do
something that
apologize.
sounds like that, I'm sure.
I know. I mean, like from some cartoon, I'm sure.
But yes, it is October.
Yes.
And we have a Shining sequel coming out next month. So this will be Bored and Annoyed with Jackson's favorite movies, The Shining.
yes.
Yes. So before that, though,
Bringing you the most important and the most entertaining news that you will get all day. It's the movie news with a couple of rabble-rousers, Jackson and Home at the Movies. It's Bored and Annoyed with the news.
somebody, like, I heard there was a little bit of news that might have made you happy this week.
Oh boy. You know, Christmas does come early sometimes. Santa Claus is real, children. Don't believe the anti-hype.
This almost makes me feel like the whole thing was garbage.
Oh,
Like-
I don't think so. I think that this was all a ploy by somebody on one of the two sides. I don't know who.
To drum up excitement.
Well, to get what they wanted out of the deal.
Okay.
I don't know who because, okay, so Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
Oh, yeah,
we should just say it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is back.
For one more movie and 3 total movies that he can be like in. Is that right? Something like
I don't know about that. What I do know is that it's one for sure Spider-Man movie and one Marvel movie outside of the Spider-Man movie.
No, maybe they'll just kill him off then.
God, I hope not. I don't like the idea of like this kind of being like we just kicked the can down the road.
Right.
Like all of a sudden we're going to have this conversation in another 2 years, 3 years.
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
I mean,
but,
it's going to be, that's how it always, I mean, it's not it's not in perpetuity.
I mean, I kind of look at it and I'm like, look, Tom Holland is one of the most beloved actors in like a character role, especially in like the Marvel thing.
Now in Marvel, he probably is the most.
Yeah, probably. And, it's like, it's one of those things like everybody's kind of, I've heard so many people say, can we just get Tom Holland until he's like 37 or something?
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm fully on board. Seeing a character go from high school to that age and getting like 15 movies out of the guy, that could be amazing.
I saw that he actually like contacted the head of both studios himself too.
Yeah.
Which I can see why.
I mean, did you see his reaction?
On Twitter or whatever?
on Instagram or whatever, the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving.
No, I
fucking
did not
leaving.
see that. I
Oh,
saw
it
a
was
couple
so
like
good.
tweets from people. I don't know if it was Zendaya or him or what. But
Yeah, people are happy, me included.
yeah, I figured right away.
Yeah, you sent me the news.
That was did I break the news? I thought
you broke
so.
the news both times.
Yeah, again.
And I was like, this is bullshit. It's not real.
It was Rotten Tomatoes.
It was
man.
Rotten Tomatoes, and there it was. And yeah, this is great. This is absolutely great. This is how it should be. People are saying that they're probably going to try and get him out, like work on him being less pivotal in the MCU. I'm not a fan of that.
It makes sense if it's going to be like this.
Right. And I get it. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but I'm glad he's back. I just don't think, I don't know who came out better in this deal. You know what I mean?
What is it? What's the split?
25, 75. Disney puts up 25 and gets 25% of the profits.
Okay. I mean,
Which is
probably more fair than what.
It's apparently their original offer.
Okay. And
When
Sony
told them no.
Sony caved then?
So, well, I mean, that's the funny thing is, I don't know if anybody watches John Campea on YouTube.
Oh boy.
But I started watching his video on this where he said, Disney caved. And I'm like, Well, didn't they both just kind of reach an agreement? And also, wasn't this the original amount? So how exactly did they cave?
Yeah, that's a little bit over anyone's head, I think. The actual backroom dealings.
Right. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, Sony is the one who had less chips. And yes, they avoided a 50-50 split.
Well, but they own the character, so I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they had less.
I think that at the end of the day, it's like, if you're next, I feel like all the pressure was on them.
There's just too much money to be made.
Well, that, but I feel like if they were hypothetical, were they to make a Sony Spider-Man movie on their own, the pressure is really on them, because if they suck,
It would be bad.
it would be bad. What do you do then? Do you go back hands out?
Yeah.
Begging from Marvel? Do you reboot again? Because nobody wants another Spider-Man reboot.
Well, you got to remember, it wouldn't matter if it sucked, because Venom did really well with audiences. So it
That's
could be
true.
just like Venom, and they would be just fine.
This is slightly different because Venom can succeed because people were thinking that there was a Marvel connection. There was a lot of people who thought that. If all of a sudden you sever the MCU connection,
you would have to write a movie that was about that purely,
Right.
I think. You couldn't pretend that didn't happen. It would have to be built into the plot of the movie.
I think the only way that you make it work, personally for me, is that you basically have him be in a Doctor Strange movie where he ends up in a parallel but similar universe where he is the only one. And maybe there's Venom and all of them, but there's no MCU characters.
Sure.
It's the only way I can see it working.
Well, that wouldn't have been an option.
Right.
Right.
So
Maybe
happy
that's what
for
they'll
this.
do. Clip that out of the episode, so when Doctor Strange 2 comes out,
We can just.
we can just.
I
go
told
right to
you
it.
so.
Yeah.
I told you so. On Bored and Annoyed.
The I Told You show.
Yeah. There you go. There's a podcast.
Yep.
There's a podcast for that. Yeah, we've got other news though. Let's see. There's another Bourne movie in the works.
Yeah, apparently there's also a Treadstone television series coming out.
Really?
And apparently a Bourne movie. I don't know if Matt Damon is confirmed as being in it, but there is another Bourne movie coming. I never saw the Jeremy Renner one. I saw the Jason Bourne one, and I
Didn't see the one that you saw, and I did see
Okay.
the Jeremy Renner one. Jeremy Renner one really wasn't very good.
no, yeah, that Jason Bourne was kind of milquetoast bland.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say the thing about that's kind of how the Jeremy Renner one was. The problem is that Jeremy Renner was kind of a superhero. Like
Okay.
he had like genetic enhancements or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a weird movie in that it reached its climax and you were like, wait, I thought this was like the end of the second act. Like it just ends abruptly.
That's odd.
It was a really odd movie.
You know, that's one where it's like that trilogy was so good. It seemed planned out.
Yes.
Everything kind of, and then they're just like, okay, we're going to tack more on. So I don't know what they were.
I feel like Matt Damon should be maybe a little bit more picky with his movies.
He is. I saw a trailer for one. I was going to mention it to you if you had asked you if you'd seen this trailer, this Ford versus Ferrari movie with him and Christian
I take
Bale.
it back. That looks
really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But no, in general, yes. Like I never saw the one George Clooney made, Suburbia or whatever the fuck
I
it's
didn't
called.
see that one either.
But I heard it was shitty.
What about that one where like people get really small?
Didn't see that one.
Didn't see
Looked
that one.
shitty.
Maybe I should like back off. Maybe I should take that
Yeah, we
statement
should
back.
probably
I
watch
should probably
them.
see his movies.
Yeah.
Maybe make movies I want to see, Matt Damon.
Well, that Ford versus Ferrari one looks really good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
It does. Part of that is my love for Christian Bale, though.
Yes.
He's just fucking
I like
legendary.
Matt Damon too, but
I do too. I
Yeah.
give him shit, but that's mostly because of Team America.
yeah, I mean that really did a number.
Damon.
It's so good.
It's so great. So great. But yeah, I don't know. Do we need another Bourne? Not really.
No, we don't. A TV series could be fun, just based on that like secret agency group.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I don't think it needs to be about Bourne.
No, it doesn't. Bourne's story is done.
Yes.
We need to let that just go.
I agree.
Let's see. Something that will never, ever, 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 ever be done, though, is Star Wars.
Yes. Old Kevin Feige.
Old Kevin Feige coming for that Kathleen Kennedy head.
Yeah, I mentioned it to somebody, and they're like, "Wait a minute, is he replacing Kathleen Kennedy?" And I'm like, "No, unfortunately,
Unfortunately, no.
no." I'm excited though. I'm excited for the idea of it. I don't know.
How could you not be excited for that?
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
the guy has taken Marvel from C level to A+ level.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, he's getting one movie.
We don't know. All we know is that it's a Star Wars property. Maybe it's the Rian Johnson
Oh my
trilogy.
God. Let's hope not.
Maybe it's the legendary returning of Lucas,
Hey, there you go.
produced by Feige. Feige keeps him in line.
There you go.
He says, "Hey, George, big fan. Get out of your lawn chair."
I'm just waiting for the day that they decide, hey, we're going to remake the prequels. And everyone loses their minds, or half the population loses their minds. and
When
half
do you
the
think they would
population
do that? Like,
I,
how far into the future could they do that?
I think they could do it right now.
I mean, for me,
Yeah, that's true. But they do have their fans.
Somehow.
Right.
It's like kids who are like 10 years younger than us, though.
I think there's I mean, there's a lot of them, though.
I think maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. I feel like there's an age defining, like,
I used to like them, so I can't.
what?
Yeah.
Okay, I liked them when I was like 12.
They're not completely worthless to me because they're Star Wars, and there's a lot of things that I guess I could say that I think I would put them above the latest two on, just because of originality. Emperor Palpatine.
You are such a fanboy for him.
He's great. And that's, yeah, I mean, just that, the story I think is more interesting, but he just made shitty movies. They're just shitty movies. They're poorly put together movies. So yeah, but like, would I rather watch The Last Jedi or Episode 3 right now? If you ask me, I might watch Episode 3, you know, even though it's a worse made movie, but it's more interesting to me. Like, you know what I mean?
In my opinion, it's got cooler action. I mean, I know that people got really tired of the whole like over kung fu stylized lightsaber shit. I was always kind of a fan of that. That was one of my favorite parts about the original
fun to
trilogy.
watch like the Emperor fight Yoda. As dumb as the setup is, like it's fun, I guess.
You'd say like that and the Count Dooku. Those were the two things I would change. Like as far as the fights, because I always thought Yoda.
He shouldn't fight.
But
it's still fun to watch.
It's fun. It's so stupid. It's like, you know, we've elevated Star Wars culturally in our minds for decades. And then that's the moment where you're like, oh, this is just schlock.
Right. It's true. Well, yeah. And that one had like in the Senate, like you have them tossing like the Senate chambers at each other and stuff.
That's
a neat idea.
I'm kind of okay with that one.
Right.
Because it's force. It's not like the lightsaber is not jumping around like a fucking crackhead. But
yeah, that is how they would fight, right? I mean, they would just
throw shit.
Right.
It's just
and
old
shoot
people.
lightning at each other.
It's just old people throwing things at you. Like a poor version of that is just like two old people at the retirement home.
There's just so many things that are so bizarre. Like I just brought up lightning, and it just makes me think, like, why can Dooku fire lightning? Why couldn't that have just been an Emperor thing? You know, like, because Lucas is like, oh, we'll just make it so the bad guys can shoot lightning. You know,
what that did for me in that moment was made me realize that more than likely the idea behind the lightning is a perversion of the Force in a way. And that's why only the dark users use it. Let's see. One of our last pieces of news, something that strangely has me pumped.
Okay.
Is all this news about the Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths or some crisis on Infinite...
The CW DC crossover with Tom Wellington and Brandon Routh both coming back to play Superman.
Yep, with the Superman from Supergirl, which I don't think he's bad.
No, I think that's fine. Yeah. I don't have a problem with any of this. I don't understand how Brandon Routh is playing Clark Kent and the character that he also plays in the show he's in.
Isn't he
on that show?
Adam? The Atom?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't get that.
but I guess who cares?
But you see him and he's Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
It's just the fucking shit.
He looks cool. I've never thought he was big enough to be Superman.
He looks big now.
Yeah, he looks bigger. You can see that he looks like Superman. You can see why he was cast as Superman.
I always saw him as Superman. Like when I was like, that's Superman. The problem is, and I'll stick to this till the day I die, the S is too small and his shorts are too low on his hips, which makes him have an elongated figure.
That's true. Well, and he sucked as Clark Kent.
That was not his fault.
Yeah. Well,
you didn't like but
I mean,
I think that's how Bryan Singer saw Clark, though.
Okay, well, Bryan Singer's blind.
Well, yeah, Bryan Singer is a lot of things.
It's just like Zack Snyder's blind about Clark Kent too. They both fucked up Clark Kent, you know. At least Singer tried a couple times though to make him like, he tried. He tried. And I actually kind of like moments from Superman Returns. Yeah, I do. I think the scene where Superman's getting his ass kicked is actually pretty powerful towards the end. It's always hard to watch Superman get his ass kicked.
Yes.
It's just like,
because you're just, as somebody who grows up understanding the meaning of that, you're like, this shouldn't happen.
It's not right. It's not right because he's stronger than all these people, and it's not right because he's just such a darn good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you don't like him as a character, you're like, well, I'm not really enjoying this.
It's like you're watching like a really dramatic, like, it's awful.
It's like watching somebody beat Jesus.
Right. That's exactly what it's
that
like.
Pissed off.
That's the same thing.
It pissed off so many Christians right there.
There were people fainting in Superman Returns in my showing, just like they did at the Passion of the Christ.
Did anybody get stigmata?
I watched someone faint at Passion of the Christ.
Did you really?
Yes, they were leaving. They had to get up and leave because it was so fucked up.
Wow.
And they literally fainted on the stairs. I shouldn't be laughing. It's a traumatic experience for some people. Who knew? Who knew going into that movie that Mel Gibson was going to make torture porn with Jesus?
So are we going to talk about Infinite Crisis?
Yeah, sorry.
It's the same one that has, I'm blanking on his name, voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Okay, a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you read Infinite Crisis?
I haven't. I understand. Okay,
is this the one that's super complicated and hard to understand? I feel like there's a DC book, or is that Kingdom Come?
This is Kingdom Come. Well, that's where this Superman is coming from. And
Okay.
that's what Kevin Conroy is playing is Kingdom Come Batman.
Okay.
The basic premise is that I think it's kind of like the standard, what we've gotten used to with Superman. Like he's kind of like the man from the government. He's the man,
Sure.
quote unquote. And Batman has like these people who are, it's almost like X-Men have come to the DC universe kind of idea, like superpowers are becoming a thing, like metahumans are a thing.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, we're oppressed. And Batman's like, all right, I'll start an army with you guys because like this isn't cool or whatever. And hey, how about the government not telling us everything to do? And Superman's like, hey, but truth, justice, and the American way.
So Batman's Magneto.
Pretty much.
Okay. That actually makes sense.
I mean, it's drawn by one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, Alex Ross.
I've seen the art from it, like not only the
intense.
cover, but I've seen some of it. It's really good.
He's amazing. He did Earth X, which was kind of Marvel's answer to Kingdom Come.
Okay.
Kind of like the post-apocalyptic version of their universes. Fucking fantastic, though. But yeah, I'm strangely excited for this for somebody who really does not like these CW shows.
I mean, it'll be something.
It's
the one crossover they had where Supergirl had the SS logo and that was wild, man.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty good.
And I like her as Supergirl.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
And despite the fact that I didn't love Arrow when I started it, I still like Stephen Amell.
Yes.
As and I like the Flash dude too.
Yeah.
I just don't think the shows are all that great.
No, they're a special kind of show.
But this could be something. This is their end game. Let's be honest. This is their Hail Mary end game. Please come watch Batwoman with
oh my
what's her
God.
face.
I mean,
have you watched it yet?
Is it on?
It's yeah. I saw.
What are the reviews like? Are they good?
I mean, they got to be bad, right?
Dude, you look up those CW shows like The Flash and shit.
I know,
they get
they're
good
a special
reviews.
kind of show.
Yeah.
Attracting special kinds of people.
Ruby Rose is Batgirl. The trailer, she just sounded terrible.
It looks terrible. I've also said this forever and ever and ever about Batwoman, or at least this idea
Is this
for
Batgirl or Batwoman?
It's Batwoman.
And they're two different people.
They
right?
are two different people. I don't even think that, like, I don't even know if this is exactly canon because I don't know Batwoman well enough. But I know that she's a lesbian, which I think they're going to be sticking to, which is fine.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm not a fan of is like this idea like, oh, I'm Bruce Wayne's cousin and I just happen to walk. I've never really loved the whole like, I'm related to the person who did something great, therefore watch my story.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like nobody watches like,
That's
how
how
a Christmas
all of those
tale
are too.
Nobody watches a Christmas tale about Santa Claus's shitty brother.
You know, that's funny because that's what Supergirl is basically too, right?
I know, but they actually basically did the smart thing with the show, which is basically just make her Superman.
Right, that's true. That's true.
And I like that. But with Batgirl, it's like, with Batman, it's also different too, because like the idea of like somebody being born with powers and coming to a different planet, being away from home, that could apply to anybody.
Sure.
The idea of like Batman made himself, what makes Batman cool is, yes, his origin story, but also the fact that he made himself into a force of nature.
That's true. Being his cousin wouldn't be enough to create your, yeah. It's a good point.
I mean, nobody's watching like the theory of some things about Stephen Hawking's cousin.
Right. Yeah, no, he's the great one.
I have so many of these. I have so many comparisons.
I think we're good with one. I think we're good with one today.
I think you missed the other one, but that's okay.
Which one did I miss?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about The Shining.
Yes, The Shining. So 1980 Stanley Kubrick horror film.
Wow. How about that Jack Nicholson guy?
Holy shit, is he great in this? So he's super great. Now, do I put this as like one of the top tier performances of all time? I would say no, just because he's so over the top. Like I'm going to get annoying here in this review because I am going to compare the book and the movie.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say that I do understand why Stephen King doesn't like this, because in this movie, Jack Nicholson is never a warm guy from the beginning. He is cold.
Yes.
He's kind of a prick.
So I've watched this movie numerous times over the years.
Sure.
And when I was in film school, we watched it, and some people were like, "Oh, I really like how like, you know, he kind of went from like a normal guy to," and I'm like, "No, you're wrong.
I don't think he's normal.
He's not normal.
No.
He's not normal from the get-go. I mean, the whole like the car ride up when he goes, see, he saw it on TV.
Yeah.
And he's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he's totally like being a sarcastic prick with them.
Yes.
In the car. Like he's always wants her to shut up.
Yes.
Clearly. And they also set it up where he, you know, he's kind of a dry drunk.
Yes.
Not kind of, purely a dry drunk.
Yes.
He hurt his son by, you know, hurting his shoulder somehow. We don't get too much info on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the book, they play that up as like, oh, he is a really decent guy.
Like he feels really bad about it.
Yes. And in the movie, Stanley Kubrick, that is not the concern of this movie.
He doesn't even he seems annoyed that it's brought up. In fact, he complains to the bartender, the ghost bartender.
Yes. Oh God, those scenes are great.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you start watching it and you just like, I could watch a movie like this all day.
It's really
it's a fantastic
But
movie.
yes, he does complain. I think there is one part where he does, like, he's frustrated that people are judging him on this. Like he's trying to get someone to say it's okay.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, that scene and the one with the guy who was the caretaker who takes him into the bathroom. It's amazing.
I corrected her.
It's
amazing. It's
It is.
amazing. And Jack Nicholson, I mean, okay, if nobody's seen this movie, just go and watch it and come back and listen to this. Like just stop and come back.
Yes. It's a classic. It's a classic for a reason.
And we're doing spoilers right from the get-go.
Yes.
I mean, you can fuck off if like you haven't seen The Shining and you're listening to our podcast. I don't mean that. Don't go fuck off. Anyways, point is, in that scene, Jack Nicholson is doing so many great things. He has like these little asides where he just kind of like opens his mouth a little bit.
Right.
And he's like, he's moving his eyes in ways. He's thinking like it's one of the most organic performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, you can see the clock ticking in his head. You can see the gears moving in his head in a lot of scenes in this.
It's so great.
He is great. It's a very Nicholson role. Like this is, I mean, he is so intense in this. There's one scene where basically they're outside in like the maze, what do you call it? And he's just they cut to him and he's just like staring out the window with this crazy fucking look in his face.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I feel like okay, he's a great performer, but I also feel like half of it is he's hired for his face because he can just make creepy faces.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see shades of like, okay, this is why he got Joker. Like, obviously.
Right. And fucking great as Joker.
Great as Joker.
Yeah.
Different than Heath Ledger, still great.
Yes.
This movie, though, the cinema, I mean, we can talk about cinematography on a fucking
it's a
Kubrick movie.
It's insane. And the fact that like, people don't realize this was one of the like early entries in the Steadicam usage where even the scenes where fucking Andy or whatever is rolling around on his little tricycle and the camera's following him and you're kind of getting this like map of the hotel. None of it like works in your brain though. And it's purposeful. It feels like it's like the hotel is designed in such a way where like nothing makes sense. It just makes you feel off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
there was something
all of a sudden he's in different floors and it's like, what the fuck? And it's not a mistake. Like there's a lot of shit in this where I feel like if it wasn't Kubrick, I'd think it was a mistake. And I watched Room 237 as well, which is the, have you ever seen that? So it's a documentary and basically it's 8 people sharing their conspiracy theories on what they believe The Shining actually is about. So you've got like one person who's like thinks it's him admitting to landing on the moon, to filming the Apollo 11 mission, and you have another person who thinks it's about like the genocide of the Indians, and it's pretty interesting actually. And they're all fucking nuts.
Okay.
Clearly.
Okay.
But they do talk about like they point out shit because these people have all watched it like, you know, like they rented it in the 80s and they watched it over and over and over again for 3 days or whatever, like on a loop. But yeah, they started pointing out all the inconsistencies, like the what do you call it? I just said it, but like
the floors with Andy.
Well, no, just that too, but continuation bullshit that doesn't make sense.
Continuity.
Yeah, the continuity issues. Wow, my brain farted there. Excuse me, listeners, but like. There's a scene in it where there's a chair behind Jack and they cut to Wendy and then they cut back to Jack.
And there's no chair?
And there's no chair. And it's like, I don't understand how he would have made that mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of shit in it like that.
Well, kudos to him because I didn't notice those things.
Right.
Because you're just enthralled. The thing about you said Andy with like writing and stuff, there's something very, very strangely hypnotic about him going from like the hardwood floors
to the carpet
to the hardwood floors to the carpet. It's so great.
It's amazing that that's something that like I would wonder if people who don't sit here and sweat movies like we do like consciously realize that, or if it's just something they experience without, because I thought the same thing, like the sound design there is just great. And I can't put my finger on why exactly, but
it is. I feel like, I think if I were to describe Kubrick, it would be that he's a hypnotic director.
Yes.
He tries to get you into something that's repetitive or strange in some way, but strangely hypnotic.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would completely agree because he's got, I mean, between this and 2001,
yes,
that's what it all is. And I would say that this also, like 2001, is not a character movie so much.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because your main character is just a fucking psycho.
I suppose, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he's just a very charismatic psycho.
Right.
So you are enjoying the ride.
Yeah, well, and everything is just such a feast for the eyes and ears. It's like if you didn't have the look and feel of the movie that's because of the visuals and the way it's laid out, I don't know how great the movie would be. Because there's not, it's not like they go into a lot of the lore. You don't really know exactly what's happening. There's like ghosts that pop up, especially at the end when Wendy's rolling around the house, and all of a sudden there's like a guy in a teddy bear thing, like blowing somebody on the bed. Like,
I kind of wonder if that was the birth of furries.
could be.
I don't know.
Could be. And you get the blood from the elevator, but it's like that's never really, you know what I'm saying?
That's not explained.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think you get all the explanation you really need in that it's a fucked up place at
Correct.
the beginning, buried on a Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen King.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that like your one card?
I don't even remember if that was in the book.
Was
I don't
it?
remember
Okay.
if that was or not. But yeah, it's so awesome just because they perfectly do lay out the idea of The Shining.
Right.
With the guy,
Yes.
Yeah,
He's fantastic.
Yeah,
oh my.
and he's got a really whacked out name too, and I always forget it. That actor, Scatman Crothers as Mr. Halloran.
He's a scat man. How many people have made that joke in his life?
I mean, his
Too many.
name's Scatman Crothers.
Can
What are
I
you gonna
just
do?
apologize to him? Is he alive still?
No, he's dead.
Sadly.
He's dead.
I really like him too.
He's great. Yeah, he's fucking great. Even like the scene where he's just laying in bed in his house, like freaking the fuck out.
In his house that has like nude woman on this wall and nude woman on this wall.
Yes, right.
That was so funny. I was like, oh, well, there's more to him than just being a psychic.
There's just so much it's one of those movies where when it ends, you almost want to watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like there's so much shit in there that is just so fantastic to watch and just wonder what the fuck is going on. What is he thinking exactly as he's putting this together? Do you think it's scary?
No, I don't. I think it's fun.
Yes.
I think it's a very fun thriller movie. It's fun. It's fun in the way that thrillers can be fun.
Right.
You know, like you're always just on edge a little bit. It's great because it hinges on Jack's performance. But also they set up the stakes right from the get-go. Guy came here. He killed his family. You get that right from the get-go.
Yes, that's true.
That's great. Because if you know, and I mean, I kind of gave The Witch a little bit of shit for this because it shows the woods and it goes, woo.
Yeah, sure.
But they do that at the beginning of this with the whole like camera shot where
Right.
it's flying over the lake. I still like it.
The music in that even is great.
Fantastic. That
It
is
almost sounds like a ghost.
Yeah.
Like
it's great. It's
It is.
great. It's an A+ movie.
it is. I think Shelley Duvall's good in it too.
Okay, she's my one thing where I'm like, why are you running like this?
Oh, the running scene is bad.
When she runs,
true.
I'm like,
But I absolutely fucking love the scene where she has the baseball bat and she's just like swinging like an idiot at him, and he's just, give me the bat, give me the bat, give me the bat.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your fucking brains. Like that's so he's so like it's one of those performances where like I can't fight doing an imitation because
Right.
it's so fucking like he looks like he's having a blast.
Oh, it's fun to pretend to do the role.
It's so great. I love this movie. Like that's why I'm so glad we're discussing it. I forgot how much I loved this movie.
It's amazing, dude. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing even though like I probably don't understand everything he was trying to do.
Right.
Just as a surface level like guy goes crazy movie, it's great.
I mean, I don't. Okay, let me ask. Okay, Room 237.
Yes.
Do they get into? Because in film school, we were talking about how Kubrick is one of these very intentional. Everything has a meaning in every shot
Right.
kind of guys.
Sure.
So they were like doing like phallic symbols in the meeting where he goes in.
Yes, that's one of the things they point
okay?
out.
I might have seen Room 237 in college and forgotten about it.
So yeah, one of the scenes they talk about is when he goes in for the interview
Yes.
and the guy comes around the desk. Like this guy is convinced that they purposely had a stack of paper on the desk. And when he stands to shake his hand, it's a hard-on.
Yeah.
He's convinced.
Yes.
They talk about one lady's obsessed with the hotel and the fact that like it's a labyrinth, and there's a skier on a poster in the background, and she's convinced that's actually the Minotaur. From like, you know,
The myths?
the myths, like and there's always a Minotaur in the labyrinth, and like nothing in the hotel makes sense. Like, it is true. The way the hotel's laid out, when he goes in for that meeting, the interview, there's a window there, and it makes no sense that there'd be a window there.
Right.
None.
Right.
There's no chance there's a window there whatsoever. It is dead center in the middle of the hotel.
Right. That's great. Yeah. I actually never thought about that.
So there's like shit like that they are convinced are all purposeful. And some of them think it's about, you know, genocide, mass genocide, no matter what the culture. Some people think it's like a Native American genocide thing. The Apollo 11 one is great. That guy, he really believes that this is him, you know, essentially admitting that he did film the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Okay. Here's the thing about conspiracy theories is like there's always a tipping point. Like these people are like, oh, there's a purpose for everything. I was like, okay, Kubrick. Like that's
I'm sure he did have shit in mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, it's like a labyrinth. Okay, cool. You're kind of dealing with the themes. There's a labyrinth outside. Cool. He's admitting to the Apollo 13 filming. No. It's just no. You jumped the shark. It's over.
It's pretty fucking his whole thing about it. And obviously I'm not crazy, so I'm not going to memorize this and know it for sure. But basically room 237 is like the shit you're not supposed to see. Danny has an Apollo 11 sweater on in that scene when he goes into the room.
Okay.
There's a bunch of little things where it's like, I can't believe that you strung this together, but I guess it makes sense in your fucking crazy brain.
I mean, maybe Kubrick's having fun poking at the idea.
Yes.
I don't know. But the thing is like Kubrick, I need to watch more interviews of him as a person.
I don't think I've seen many at all. They do have an 18 or 20 minute long documentary that his wife was filming.
Okay.
While making this.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, he treated Shelley Duvall like shit. And I don't know if that was just to get something out of her that he needed to get out of her, or if he thought she was bad,
right.
Or what.
Well, but if she was bad, why didn't he just get somebody else?
I mean, I don't think she's bad. I think she works for the movie because she's just an unsettling. I'm sorry, Shelley. I know you're old and crazy as fuck now, but she's an unsettling looking person.
She does have a unique look, and she does capture the sort of like mousy, you know, pushover kind of character, which is what she needs. The thing is that she says certain things really weird. She just says
she's fucking
weird.
Well, and that's another thing too, is in the book, she's a very strong, like gorgeous blonde character.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to see why Steven is not happy.
Yeah. So
because that kind of, it makes it more, I understand now. Like I like The Shining
there's a
for
lot of
like
shit in it.
the movie. I like it for what it is, but I understand what Steven's doing with his story. He's kind of like, it's a change. This woman is strong. So when she's put in the position that she's in later on in the movie, because I'm assuming that maybe the events are pretty similar, but characters are different. Maybe motivations are slightly different.
Well, I think the crux of it is that The Shining, to me anyway, when I read it, I was feeling like, okay, this is about his alcoholism and that there's a good person in there. And that's kind of the point, that these demons are getting him,
right,
you know?
Right. I feel like that's still in this movie though.
Like a little bit.
Like a little bit.
But you need to show that he's a warm person, really. And that does not happen in The Shining.
You know what? Actually, it's probably the exact opposite message, which is like, you're a bad person and the alcohol just lets it out.
Right. Yeah, and that is how it seems. Right. Yeah. Whereas Dr. Sleep, on the other hand, is kind of Stephen King's way of handling like the recovery portion, because Danny's an alcoholic too,
right?
But he's like the opposite side of it. It's almost like Stephen King wrote about himself in different eras.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's.
What do you mean by like he's a different kind of drunk? Like you did ask me to now keep this in mind.
Okay.
Put the puzzle together with half the pieces.
That's true. No, so what I mean is like in The Shining, he was probably still getting hammered all the time. Stephen King was. And it's like this, it's almost like him trying to, and this is all me doing this.
Right.
But it was probably him trying to say his frustrations, perhaps, with his lack of an ability to handle himself sometimes, knowing like, okay, well, I woke up and did something stupid again and blah, blah, blah. Whereas Dr. Sleep is all about Danny dealing with the fact that he's not drinking and trying to like basically Danny drinks in Dr. Sleep because it's the only thing that keeps the demons away.
Okay. Oh, okay, right. Okay. So, I understand the inverse now. Gotcha. Okay.
So it's I'm excited as fuck for the movie, by the way. I mean, it's going to be weird if he tries to be Kubrick, the guy who did The Haunting of Hill House, who's making this.
Right. Well, I mean, he's got enough of a style all his own that I do hope that he stays within that.
Right. Yeah, but I'm concerned that he's going to try to be Kubrick. But you have to try a little bit.
I think you have to bridge the gap. I don't think you can do fully your own style.
I don't think that a movie like The Shining necessarily would be well received today either. It's too slow for a lot of people, I think.
I mean, Hereditary is a pretty slow movie.
But a lot of people hate Hereditary.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true. I feel like people would be more forgiving of a Shining sequel that's slow than an original horror movie that's slow.
You're probably right.
They've got attachments.
But yeah, what else in The Shining is there to talk about? I mean, it's just
favorite scene.
So it's gotta be between Jack in the bathroom with the former fucking caretaker,
right?
Delbert Grady.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome in that scene.
I was gonna say that might be my favorite scene.
It is amazing
because it's like the way that it's paced and the way that it starts with like, sorry, sir, I don't recollect that.
Yes.
And then it just slowly sort of comes out. And it just kind of like the way that scene unfolds is unlike any scene that exists anywhere else.
Right. Well, and I would say the runner-up, or maybe even my favorite scene, is the Bat one. Because he's just
He's so gone.
He's so fucking gone. And he's so like overacting, which it's not an insult.
I don't even know if I would call it overacting. I truly think this is what an insane person would look like.
I suppose. Yeah, it's just great. I mean, the scene at the end in the maze is great.
It's a great one.
Yeah,
when he's screaming Danny and just wow. I'll tell you one of the shots that really just kind of blew my mind that it was what was done at the time was when he's taking the axe to the door.
Sure.
And the camera is coming back with every swing.
Yes.
So it's amazing. You feel every swing. And I'm like, great idea. You could have just like had a static shot, like a step back true. Like 2 feet and had a static, but you feel it.
There's stuff that's noticeable in this as you're watching it that's like, why don't any directors do this kind of stuff?
I was thinking that for like an action scene. I'm like, you don't see this kind of like somebody coming back for a punch and then going in. Like, that is so great.
Yeah. Why don't other directors do Kubrick stuff?
Maybe it's
like even the way he lines up a shot, he's very like, okay, you can tell like, okay, here's the room. Like it feels large. Everything's kind of, depending on the scene, depending on like the emotion he's going for, things are set up in a certain way in the room. If it's just like an establishing of the building, like there's certain like things in certain places, very, symmetrical a lot of times. Yep. And then when shit gets fucked up, it's like a little cattywampus, like the way that stuff's presented.
I would say for a movie that's about a person going insane and about things just not being right in that hotel, the amount of like, the lack of Dutch angles should be applauded.
Yes.
because that's the go-to move.
The cheat move. Yeah.
That's not weird. What do you know? 45-degree angle.
Oh, I love the fact that they've got that shot, that weird shot, when he's locked in the closet,
yes.
and the camera's like looking up at him, and he's kind of like fucking with that knob on the door and trying to get her to let him out.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, it's
great.
amazing.
I also love I love the idea that they just there's something to be said about directors just understanding when to let the actor carry the scene.
Sure.
And the scene where he is locked in the food pantry or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the Mr. O'Grady or whatever
comes and lets him out.
Yeah. And the fact that we never step outside and we just sit with Jack.
Well, did Danny let him out?
I don't believe so.
So that's another
Is that
interesting
a working
thing.
theory?
Well, the theory, that's the only thing in the entire movie that the ghosts actually do.
I mean, it's you could make that argument. You could make the argument that Danny did it somehow, like Danny did it to himself when he went and he got his shit. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, nah, but I'm pretty sure that Danny does not seem like the type of kid that would do something like that. There's nothing that about his character that makes me think he would be like that.
No, and you're right. It's just, it is interesting that the ghosts have no other physical, they don't do anything.
That's why it's so great.
Yeah.
It's because it could just all be in their head, but that's the moment where you're like, not all in their head.
Sure.
It is defined. It is clear.
I mean, Danny could be losing it. Maybe Tony took over,
but she saw the furry people.
No, Tony, his imaginary friend.
Yeah, but what's her name? Saw the furry people. So there are ghosts.
Yeah, but she's crazy too. She's losing her mind too in that house.
I don't know. She's weird.
She's losing her shit. Wouldn't you lose your shit?
I think Kubrick was going for the idea like maybe everybody goes.
Ghosts, by the way.
Okay. I like how you're just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's possible.
I do think that Kubrick was going for the idea like they're all kind of weird and a little crazy in their own way kind of thing. It's not like normal family comes here and goes nuts.
I think the wife, for the most part, was normal.
I think she is.
She's probably the most normal of the three characters.
I think that's why he cast her, though, was because she's weird looking. So... I mean, no offense.
She's not an attractive woman.
Yeah, well, can't all be me.
Yeah, there you go. An attractive woman.
Yeah, an attractive. Yep, that's
I
me.
Didn't know.
That's me.
I'll try to use the proper pronoun moving forward.
Well, fuck off.
But yes, it's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece,
and it's funny because I was watching it with the wife, and I looked over at her and I go, I still don't think it's as good as 2001. And I waffle back and forth on this. And I know there's a lot of people that think this is like his worst movie.
Oh, I would go the other way and say that this is, in my opinion, light years better than 2001.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
But
I don't think so.
It works more for me because it's a little less idea and a little bit more performance driven.
Sure.
And it's as equally visually driven as 2001, I would say, in different ways. I would say cinematography wise, they're probably about similar.
It doesn't make you work as hard.
No.
For sure.
No.
I mean, the thing that's amazing is like if somebody's telling you this is his worst movie, that just goes to show how fucking awesome he was.
Right.
I mean, A Clockwork Orange is amazing.
That's one we should watch eventually.
I would be down to watch that.
I haven't watched that in about 8-9 years.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's a really good movie.
It's disturbing.
The old in and out.
The fact that like the guy who made 2001, he made fucking A Clockwork Orange. All of a sudden, they give him this Stephen King fucking movie, and he knocks it out of the park. He's not a horror guy,
right?
You know what I mean?
But he's just
fucking crushes it.
But just about everything he does, though, is unsettling.
Yeah.
So I think it was a perfect marriage.
Yeah,
Stephen King might not agree,
and the fact that Stephen King, hey, I'm sorry, Stephen.
Stephen, didn't you say that It Chapter 2 was very scary and a really great movie?
Yeah, well,
I have so much respect for Stephen King, but I mean, I don't think he knows a great movie when he sees one.
he was very butthurt by The Shining, clearly, because it's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's
Do we want to do should we watch soon though?
the last thing.
Soon? So last thing? Last thought?
thing. My last thought is that The Shining belongs in that tier with The Exorcist as the greatest horror movies of all time. I think.
I like it more than The Exorcist, but I can see why you like The Exorcist.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible. But yeah, my point is, it's you know, you've got your different genres of movies, and if you're a fan of horror, The Shining is, I mean,
if you like horror, I feel like for its most pure reasons for being. I feel like if you're just like a gore fanatic,
yeah, that's different. Yeah, right.
or a Scream Queen fan, you're not gonna. I mean, maybe the scene with the bat might do something for you, but
I mean, I just say, you know, I think that The Exorcist is more of an emotional movie. It's more character driven. I definitely feel more watching The Exorcist because it's just such a disturbing situation.
yeah,
But The Shining's just a blast. It's just awesome.
it's just hypnotic.
Right.
I find it so hypnotic. Like, I was not particularly in the mood to watch it when I turned it on, and by the end, I was like, it's so fucking great.
It is
I
great.
should watch that again.
There's just parts where you're like hanging on everything going on.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That bathroom scene.
Yes.
I mean, you are watching that just like
Yep.
edge of your seat. Just, I want to hear every word. I want to like just soak this in.
Yep.
The fucking room itself.
Yep.
The red paint. Like, when you think about The Shining, you very vividly can picture everything in it that somebody talks about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It's great.
It's
But yeah, that's enough of that shit we watched.
shit we watched. Whoa. Shit we watched. So we could do a shared shit we watched right from the get-go.
Yes.
Yesterday, we both watched Yesterday.
We didn't both watch it yesterday, though.
We didn't watch it yesterday, but we did watch Yesterday.
Yesterday. But yes, it sounds like you really liked it a lot.
I dug the shit out of this.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if this has actually really ever come. We don't really discuss these types of movies
No.
on the show, but I am a romantic. I
Okay.
do like a romantic movie. It can't be overly sappy. The comedy has to work. I have to like the characters. I'm very persnickety about any sort of romantic movie, but if you can nail a movie that has romance at the center, but has good character arcs
Sure.
and make it realistic and relatable, I like that. I like that. And I feel like this movie really kind of nailed it.
Okay.
I had a blast with this. And I'm not the biggest Beatles fan. In fact, I would go so far as to say I don't really get what the whole big deal is about the Beatles.
You know, I think if anything, this movie did kind of remind me of how great they were, though,
Yes.
because he starts going through all these songs, and like every one you hear, it's like,
Yes.
this song's amazing.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, and that's a testament to how great the movie is. Is like, I never really considered myself a Beatles fan, and then at the end, I'm
Right.
like, okay, they're pretty fucking great. So I like the main character
Yeah, he was
a
good.
lot. I like, I think Lily James. I
Yes,
think it is
she's
again.
I think she's just great.
I actually think she's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like their story. I love the premise. I don't think I'll ever not love the premise.
No, it was a great premise.
I love the red herring that they have in the trailers for the movie. We'll get into that in
Okay.
spoilers.
You'll have to remind me. I'm a week behind you on this one. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because you watched it.
And I forgot.
Right.
So that gives you a hint as to
Yeah,
how
I know
much
you didn't
I
love it.
I didn't. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll
I
let
would
you
give this
continue.
like a B plus, A minus.
Okay.
I had a really good time with it.
Okay, I would give it a. It's like C plus sounds too harsh. B minus might sound a little too,
Too positive.
Too positive. There were parts of it I really liked, and then there were parts that were. And a lot of these types of movies do this kind of shit, but like there's parts where you're just like looking at the screen like, why don't you just say this? Why don't you
Right.
just tell her this? Or there's the cartoony character played by Kate McKinnon bothered me a little bit.
I was going to say, she at the very end became too cartoonish for
Right.
me. Up until that point, I was kind of enjoying her.
She
Her
gave me a couple
first-
chuckles.
Her first scene really made me laugh.
I do love the premise.
I love the
I
premise.
wish they would have done more with the premise as far as like, not only do people not remember the Beatles, and if I guess if we're this far into the review, it's too late to give a synopsis, but
Spoilers.
no, not a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
No spoilers yet. But the movie's about a guy who gets like hit by a truck during like a power outage, and he wakes up and nobody remembers the Beatles.
Yes.
So along with that, spoilers.
It's not the only thing people don't remember.
Right.
They don't remember Coke.
Yeah.
They don't remember Oasis.
Yes,
Which
correct.
was-
There's like random things that have like somehow disappeared. It's never really explained.
Oasis, the band, in
Yes.
case people don't know who Oasis is.
Yeah, so it's never explained. I'm okay with that.
Harry Potter doesn't exist either.
Oh, yeah.
That was a nice little joke at the end. I enjoyed that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's not explained, but
No.
that's okay.
No, that's fine.
It's kind of like the Groundhog Day sort of thing.
What did you think of the people who do remember? Who
I loved it.
did you?
I loved it because I was like,
I thought the setup for that was a little too early in the movie compared to where it paid off and what ended up happening when it paid off.
So what I liked about it was you see it and you see this guy and he went to the Russian show and I was like, okay, well maybe he's like the son of one of the Beatles, or maybe he knows this song but he doesn't know from where.
Right.
You know? And so
Like it's clicking.
like
with,
it's
like,
clicking
what
with
is
some
this?
people.
Something.
So the idea that something is happening,
Right.
and you don't know, I really loved that.
Well, they're trying to make you think that this is going to be a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
And I like that. And then I like, because the movie's not about that. And the movie knows it's not about that. It's about him accepting who he is and finding love. That's what the movie is about.
Yeah, and it just takes too long for him to do the things he needs to do that to get there. But
She makes some really great points though. Like when she tells him like, look, like I loved you for X amount of years.
Right.
And now once I say it to you, now you have like, you know, and it's like that. I don't think that there's a counter for that.
I like the fact that it was the girl who's chasing the guy in this movie.
Yes. I said that to the person I was watching the movie with. I was like, you know what? This doesn't happen very
It's
often.
rare. Yes.
And I really liked that inverse
Yes,
relationship.
It was pretty interesting. Yeah, I would recommend this wholeheartedly.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing,
There's
that I
nothing wrong
hated.
with it, I don't think.
No, I like again though. You just like you get to the end when he throws her up on the fucking screen, and I get it. It's just so like
That was a bit much. I would say the ending does not stick the landing, which is where some of my minuses come in.
well, right, and it's just so like network TV-ish, like like soapy, like kind of
Yes.
which I get it. That's what this is. The people who like that sort of thing are
Right.
gonna like it. It doesn't matter what I think, right?
Right,
I mean,
right, right.
that's where I had to go, but I can't give it my full-throated.
It wasn't a complete fuck yeah, but I
Right.
had a really, really good time with it.
I certainly think it deserved better reviews than it got.
That was the thing when I walked out, or when I got done watching, walked out. When I got done watching it, I'm like, why does this have like a 70 or 60% something? Like, this
Although
doesn't
I
make
guess
any sense to me.
That's kind of fair.
I don't know. That's a lot of people. I mean, it's not what grade would you give it. It's
Yeah.
percentage of people who
They
disliked
didn't-
it. And it's like,
I think the problem that people have with it is that it doesn't. It becomes more about the love story, which is fine, but the premise it loses the premise a bit.
I see what you're saying, and I guess I kind of agree because it's such a great
Well,
premise.
Yeah, think about how many fun fucking things they could have just done on the premise alone.
Right.
So
But I like the way that they took it for the story that they wanted to tell. But
Sure.
I do understand that there's, I guess, a certain amount of wasted potential because
Sure.
it's such. But the thing is like the whole people don't remember X. That's going to be able to be used for literally anything at
Right.
this point, because this is just. I feel like this has opened the floodgates for some sort of yesterday cinematic universe.
yeah,
I mean, you absolutely could do it.
What else did people forget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just he's a character in this, and then all of a sudden somebody else does, and he doesn't remember shit, and they remember something, and then they do the thing. I don't know. You
Well,
can do so many things.
I was actually thinking it would be funny if the movie actually the premise was he remembers the Beatles and he plays their music, and like in this era, everybody's
Nobody-
like, what the fuck
yeah,
is this?
yeah.
Why would we listen to this?
There was a part of me that was like, okay, these are good songs. Would they hit today?
And I
But
think
that's a
they
hypo-
would. I think they would.
It's a hypothetical that we don't really know the answer to.
I think they're just so good.
They're good songs.
Well, it's funny because like this movie is probably better than the Across the Universe movie, which I believe I reviewed on the podcast.
I don't mind it.
I liked Across
Yeah.
the Universe maybe a little more than this, even though it's a worse movie, just because it was like they did something really interesting and entertaining with
Right.
the Beatles.
Right.
So-
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I'd say the thing that from the trailers that really threw me off, when they go to James Corden's place and like, oh, here are the Beatles.
Yes.
They say that you stole their songs. I was like, when I watched the trailer, I was like, well, you just gave away the whole goddamn movie. What the
Right.
hell's wrong with you? But then the fact that it was just a dream, I was like, okay, now kind of great that you put that in the trailers
Right.
because I was waiting for that to be the journey.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be like the problem.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that he actually meets
Wow.
What-
Do we look like assholes? Because I fucking I was gonna bring up the scene. You've got me wanting to say Elton John. Boy,
Lennon?
do we look like John Lennon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that was great.
I really
Great
liked that.
scene. And Elton John. John Lennon's just sitting in his house on the beach or
Yep.
whatever, living his life.
Yep.
And doesn't know any
I
any
loved
different.
it. I really did. It was great. And I can't even imagine what that scene might have actually meant to a real honest to God Beatles fan.
Sure. That's
But
a
to
good
me,
point.
even watching it as
I do have insight into one big Beatles fan's thoughts on the movie.
yeah, what's that?
A little let down by it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Which I thought that when I watched it, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like you had to like that part of it.
Right.
But in general, if you were hoping for it to be like about
Right.
the Beatles
I don't know
or
why you
it
would
being-
walk. I don't know why you would walk
That's
in
true.
with that.
or the
Expectation?
premise, like the premise taking more of the premise being the movie being more about that setup premise, because
Right.
really that's just the setup.
I guess my problem is, or maybe not my problem, but I guess the way I looked at the movie was when the movie started setting up what character it had and what kind of world it was, that's when I understood where the movie was going to go. So I stopped looking at all the what if potentials
Sure.
of the story as wasted, because I was like, well, they're just not trying to do that. So I
Okay.
would not be disappointed with this one.
Okay.
I'm sure in 6 months there'll be something that somebody can call me a hypocrite about that.
Oh, I was actually thinking about that this week. I randomly was thinking, how many hypocritical bullshit stances we've probably taken on
Probably.
different movies throughout that we've talked about throughout the podcast.
But I think you have to. I think hypocrisy is something where the devil's in the details, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, there's certain things that can get away with stuff that might drive me nuts in a certain other type of thing that I watch.
Well, I think part of our job is to figure out why we're not hypocrites by talking about what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. So yes, that's
So
just
fuck you.
Fuck
we're
you
not,
guys.
We're not hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites.
Right. Is that it for yesterday?
That's it for yesterday.
I went and saw Rambo: Last Blood.
Oh boy. What do
So,
we got here?
Little history on this now. The only two Rambos I've seen are Rambo First Blood First Blood. I'm sorry.
Right, no Rambo.
Yes.
Just First Blood.
And Rambo Last Blood. And boy, oh boy, are they different experiences. I mean,
One's a
to
masterpiece.
skip the evolution, the devolution of this. Okay. this is taken with Rambo, first of all.
I sort of
That's what
figured.
this
I mean,
is.
that's exactly what the
all it
trailers are.
is about revenge
Yeah.
for someone he loses or loves or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of lame for a long time. It's never
kind of
it's
lame.
never terrible though. It's never horrible. But
That's really good. That's really good.
but the last 20 minutes
Okay.
are glorious. Like
In schlock ways or just
schlocky, gory. I mean, people told me the last one was violent, and I'm super pumped to go watch it now because this thing just goes fucking nuts. He basically sets up spoilers. He basically sets up like traps. Like this Mexican cartel crew is coming across the border to attack him at his farm or
Right.
whatever. And he booby traps the place. And like the traps he sets are brutal as fuck. But then like a spiked thing will fall out of the ceiling and get someone in the chest. And all of a sudden he pops out behind him with a shotgun and just blows their head clean off. And it's a clear still shot of the explosion.
The head going
There's a
boom.
thing that comes down that like I don't even know what happened but the whole theater was like like the whole theater was like yes, because it was just it fucking comes out of the ceiling and it hits this guy in his face and like it's a side shot of his head and there's just these two gaps in his head.
Oh,
like I
wow.
mean he rips someone's still beating heart out.
Oh my God.
Slices open their chest and take your heart. Goes in and grabs it.
Wait, he said, I'm going to take your heart?
I don't think that's what he said. But he reaches in and rips the heart out. He kills like 20 people in this scene.
Okay.
And it's fucking glorious. I loved that scene. I loved it. I did not feel like I wasted my time going to see this at all.
Because of one scene.
I know this isn't popular. I'm a Stallone guy. Like, I don't think that he's this dumb, worthless, terrible actor that so many people
I just think
act like he is.
I don't think he's got a great filmography. I think that's the problem.
I mean, all he needed to do was Rambo, Rocky for me, and he's fine. I mean,
He as
and
Rocky
he's great
is
in Creed 2 as well.
him in the Rocky franchise is just cinematic gold.
Yes.
Really should have been more picky with his roles after.
Sure.
And
I mean,
probably with the
Cliffhanger isn't a classic.
I mean, Expendables, the movie, those movies are fucking awful.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man,
There's one Daylight where he's like down in a tunnel that gets flooded.
What's the one where he's a truck driver and he arm wrestles people?
Oh fuck! What is that called?
Maximum Overdrive.
No, that's a Stephen King movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No, I don't remember
It's
the name of
something
that
about-
one, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was Tango and Cash, right?
That one I've never seen.
Sounds like we both need to put it on the list because
Well,
I don't
it's-
think I've ever seen that either. But this is just
Grade?
C plus. It was in
Wow.
the D's. It was in the D's,
Okay.
heavy D. Like, there's just so many moments where you just chuckle.
Right.
Like he pulls out, like he's got to go to Mexico to find whoever.
Right.
And like, they don't just show him speeding out of the driveway. They show him like the back tires skid out
Oh,
as he goes. And,
God.
and it just gives you those little chuckle moments. But it is funny because the original, it really has like deep themes.
Right.
And it's really fucking good. And this one is just, apparently the creator of Rambo said he's embarrassed that this exists. And I can see why, but it's
The last
just,
part is glorious.
and you know what? I completely understand the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for this being like 85 to 90 and the critic score being like 20 something.
Right.
Because this is what those people, especially those who have been following this franchise, I have not done that, but I'd imagine this is what they came for.
Yeah.
And they should have maybe spread it out a little bit over the course of the movie instead of like literally, I'm not kidding. It might be less than the last 20 minutes, but it is fucking crazy. The crowd in the theater is just hooting and fucking hollering. You know,
I can't believe that there was a crowd for this
it
movie.
was full. It was full.
That's
A
insane.
small
for me.
theater, but it was
Okay.
full. Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy. I'm a snob. Shoot me. Tear my beating heart out.
It was fucking great.
I really hope the mic picks that up as good as I could understand it, because that was good. Okay. All right. I watched a movie that was recommended to me by a friend, and this is a low budget movie. It came out, I believe, around 2004-ish. It's called Wrist Cutters, A Love Story.
Give me the plot of this because I feel like I've seen this.
Okay, so it's basically the idea of when you kill yourself, you go to a different world that's just shittier than this
I've seen
one.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while, so I don't remember it. But so I can't really take part in the conversation, but I have seen it.
So like Nick Offerman is in
Sure.
it. There are the girl, and I don't know her name, but the girl who sleeps with Tony Stark at the beginning of Iron Man 1.
The blonde chick. Yeah.
Yep, she's in it. Let's see what else. Who
She's
else
like
is-
one of those people that
Yes.
like pops up and everything and nobody knows who she is.
Yeah. Who else is in it? Oh, the girl from 40 Days and 40 Nights. You remember her?
For Anne Heche?
I don't know if that's
Or
her
was
name,
that
but
6 days, 7 nights?
I have fucking no idea.
Yeah, no, I think I know who you're talking about. Was she? Was that the one where Josh Hartnett's trying not to have sex?
Yeah.
she was also the love interest in A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger.
Yes.
Yes,
I really like her. She's one of those actresses
Yes.
where she just went away and you're like, why did you go
I
away?
agree. I like her a lot.
Really pretty. Just really pretty. But I really liked this movie. It's a romance movie again, which is kind of weird that I had like 2 of those in this week. I did not intend
You're just
that.
a romantic.
I am. Ladies. That's how romantic I get. I just say, ladies. No, I really liked this though, because this guy like finds out that his ex-girlfriend killed herself, and she's now in like the kill
The
yourself.
world, yeah.
Yeah. And he's trying to find her. And there are little things here like you can't smile in that world.
Okay, so everybody just walks around looking miserable.
Yeah. And like okay, Nick Offerman killed himself by like he shot himself. So like when he takes off his hat, like his head is kind of exploded out the back.
Okay,
So that's a great one. The cops there are just a little shittier. Let's see here. There's a black hole in the car that they have where like it's kind of like it's like the whole like, oh, you drop stuff in your car and you can't find it again
Right.
kind of thing.
sure. So it's fun world building.
It's fun world building
Right.
shit. They've got like nice little conversations. It's very low budget. That's kind of the problem with the movie, is that it's probably, if it had been given another $4 or $5 million, I think you could have something really special on your hands. As it is, it's probably like a B plus kind of movie. The main actor, I get why they cast him. I get what they were going for, but he is very early 2000s man.
Okay.
Kind of like sort of emo without being too emo kind
Sure.
of guy. I think the movie would be a little bit better if they had found a different lead.
okay.
But I love the writing and I love the message of the movie.
Okay.
So I would recommend it.
Grade?
Yeah, B plus.
Okay. Sweet.
I'm going to go with a solid B, because the more I think about the beginning is a little slow too, which is
Okay.
problematic. But as it gets going, it gets better and better as it goes. Oh, Job is in it too.
I just pulled it up. Yep. Job. Gotta love Job.
Yes. So I liked it a lot. I did. You know what? B plus.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
I remember the ending and I'm like, that's a lot of fun.
Got to have the courage of your convictions. Real quick, and this isn't going to be a full shit we watched. I do want to mention that I'm halfway through the latest season of Mindhunter. And I discovered something last night as I was watching it. And actually, I felt a little snobbish thinking it in my head, but then the wife actually said it out loud, so I felt forgiven for what I was thinking.
Okay.
But basically, there's a scene in it where, and a lot of the show feels this way, and I know people love this show. They love it, okay? But there are so many parts in this where the dialogue feels like it's scripted. It feels fake. The way that they talk, it's like, okay, now this is the part where you say this. You know, there's nothing real feeling in a lot of the dialogue in this. And in this particular scene, this was one, and I'm only saying this because there's other people that have watched it probably will be listening to this.
Right.
There's a scene where basically one of the characters' son is in trouble. And there's this judge who's kind of laying it all out, the situation that their son is in and whatever. And it literally sounds like the guy is reading off of a piece of paper. And I'm
that's
sitting here and I'm
sad.
like, this is like a top flight show right now. People love this show.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think it's not that great.
Oh no. The contrarian has come out.
It's okay. Like I like the premise, especially if you're like into serial killer type shit, like true TV type shit.
Right.
It's good. The characters all the characters are very like different and well thought out. It's just the way that the scenes are constructed are very like fake feeling. It feels fake until they're actually interviewing the serial killers. All that stuff is great. But everything else
Can get fucked.
yes. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that show so far.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have much else to say tonight,
Okay.
I don't think. I have one other thing left, but
I have a quick one. I watched
Sure.
an anime. It was called Blue Exorcist.
Blue Exorcist?
Blue Exorcist.
All right.
I really wanted to like it, but it's really not that great.
When are you just going to stop watching anime? I feel like you're,
I keep wait because the thing is like, and any anime fan who's like has discerning taste will tell you this, when they finally find like a great anime,
it's great.
it's so great and there's
Sure.
nothing like it on the earth.
That's true. The Death Note is very unique to anything else that I watched.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
That I've ever really watched.
And when you can find a good one, it's like a good anime is Aladdin.
Did you
They're
s-
the diamond in the rough.
Did you see that Death Note's getting a sequel, the Netflix movie Death Note?
Wait, no, you cannot be fucking serious.
I think that's the case.
This world has no
I
justice.
think that's the case. Alita, no. Death Note 2, The Last Note.
The last
Or wait, no.
note.
Death Note 2, The Last Name. Oh, no, this is old.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm right, though. I think there's a Death Note 2 coming to Netflix.
Because they did make live action Death Note movies in Japan.
Yeah, but no, why is Netflix's failed Death Note getting a sequel? So yes, this is confirmed. It is getting a sequul. Just wanted to let you know.
This world has no justice. This world has no justice.
Yep, it's
We have no
confirmed.
Justice League.
The last thing I briefly want to mention is that it was September as of a couple days ago.
wake up the Green Day guy? I'm sorry.
On September 11th, every year I dig into September 11th shit. I just have like a fascination. So as I was looking into it this year, I heard about this book called The Only Plane in the Sky. And basically this guy took a bunch of interviews with like almost 500 people who were somehow affected that day. So there's stuff about like with people who, you know, the guy who checked in Muhammad Atta before he got on the plane, or somebody who lost their husband in the building, someone who escaped. You know, like they've just got, you know, people in politics, you know, like Donald Rumsfeld, or like people that basically were attached to every situation happening that day.
Right.
And he lays out these interviews like chronologically through the different events. I came home from work the other day. It was on back order. It's very popular. So I came home from work the other day and it arrived. I was like, oh, good, this is here. So I started reading it, and here 2.5 hours later, I'm still sitting there fucking reading it. And it's like, extremely fucked to read, obviously. It makes you mad. It makes you upset. It really does feel like it would be the perfect book for someone who wasn't there that day or doesn't remember it or doesn't understand the gravity of what took place.
Like
you know,
like an 18-year-old who was
isn't that
born
crazy? Yeah.
after 9/11.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I'm sitting here reading it, and I'm the one of the main things I thought about as I was reading it is that like there are these political figures in it and shit.
Yeah.
And I just obviously what happened was horrible, but do you remember when like the country felt like it was together? And for a short period of time,
it was very short too, because that was 9/11 was used to propel certain things.
right.
So when that happened, that was the one that
Even then though, even like shit that nowadays, if they tried to announce war on Iraq or something, like even then, people were like the approval rating on decisions like that at the time was high. It's crazy.
There was a little bit more consensus in America.
Yes. But just in general, people weren't like lining up against each other with fucking nightsticks and fucking, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, you know what? We're not a political podcast.
I know, but
I
was
was about to give you my thought for why that happens, and you know, we'll just keep it light and fluffy.
Well, I just wish that we could, you know, I wish that there were things that could happen that weren't so tragic that would galvanize the country again.
I don't think,
because nobody gave a shit for a period of time.
I think that no matter how tragic something is, I don't think it can unite people forever.
No, you're right. No, you're right. But it's funny because you're reading this and you're reading like, you know, like I haven't read much of the Donald Rumsfeld stuff in it yet, but I was thinking like there's probably a ton of people reading this right now who aren't fans of Bush and aren't fans of Donald Rumsfeld. But even now, 20 years later, they pick up that book and it doesn't really cross their mind that that's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's story like he's in there like trying to force himself in to help people at the Pentagon, you know, like nobody gives a fuck what his politics are in that moment, you know? So I would highly recommend reading it. I'm not done with it yet, but it is fucked up to read if you can handle it, I guess. I know there's some people that, you know,
I try not to, I stay away from 9/11 stuff.
See, I'm the opposite. I like to remember how pissed I was, and it's
you like
just
to pick at that scab.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating to me how that event changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that we're alive during that and the gravity of it and how fucking there's an entire new world that was built off of it.
We're still dealing with post 9/11 everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it reshaped the world.
And it doesn't feel that long ago, but then you think like, okay, what are the odds nowadays if that happened that there would only be one camera that caught the first plane hitting the tower?
That's true. It's true.
It's crazy. It's like ages ago as far as, you know, what we have now. Like I was a sophomore in high school. I wasn't sending text messages yet. You know, it's just crazy.
But
yeah, I would recommend the book, you know, not to get into politics on the show, but it's a book. Read it. It's good. It's good.
I don't know if that's really a political stance, but yeah.
That's true. Good point.
But yeah, so next week, Joker.
Yeah. Nothing will be political about that movie being released.
Oh, God.
The bag policy at Marcus
we did forget to bring that up.
Yeah, it started this week. If you're going to a Marcus theater, if you're excited to see Greg Marcus give his spiel at the beginning of the movie.
Jesus Christ. Can you stop it, Greg? Can you stop it?
You'll have to make sure that unless it's a diaper bag, it has to be like a 12-inch by 12-inch like bag. You
really?
Can't bring a big old purse in there. Nothing that can hold a weapon. And yeah, like in their thing, they almost like tried to pass it off as like a food thing. It's like, no, we know what
You know what though? They're not wrong about that. I know a lot of people who are like, hey, I've got a soda in here.
Oh, I always bring it. Sorry. I always bring a fucking soda. Stop charging me $7 for a soda.
That's where we make our money.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, all right. Well, that's all I got tonight.
That's it. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you in space.
Oh, and the next favorite movies episode will be Alex's favorite movies, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen.
You heard it here first.